Recently, Harry has talked a lot about the three biggest issues that he sees with rideshare drivers and what they're going through right now. I'm going to take a look at all three of these things that Harry said, as well as mention some of the comments that you all have mentioned in relation to what he said. Let's jump in. Hi, I'm Tyler from the RideShare Guy. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the three biggest issues that Harry has mentioned that he thinks drivers are going through, and a lot of drivers agree, and I agree in a lot of ways as well, but we're going to talk about that. One big thing that a lot of drivers, whether they're new or they've been driving for a while, especially with how things are right now, is they wonder what the best time to drive is to make the most amount of money. One app that we've been using to help us to see exactly how we can do that is the Solo app. The Solo app tells you exactly when to drive, and the great thing about it is if you don't make as much money as they say that you're going to make, they'll actually pay you the difference. If you want to take a look and get started with that, check the link in the description below. The first thing that Harry mentioned is the rate that Uber and Lyft take from the drivers. Now, historically, over the last 10 years, we see that this has been between 20 and 40%, but we have seen in recent years that this has been upwards of up to 80% at times, which Harry in his post even admits, hey, that's a bit too much. Now, here's the problem with the 10 years that a lot of people left in the comments, and I actually agree with. So, over the course of 10 years, great, we weren't really complaining about how much, or at least we weren't complaining as loud how much they were taking until recently with the upfront fare. So, though over the last few years, yeah, maybe it was great, but now they're taking a lot more than they were before, or at least that's what it seems like. And with the numbers that we're seeing and people doing different research, whether that's asking their passengers or just looking at everything, and you see lawsuits all over the place that Uber and Lyft are going through and that they're taking too much money from drivers. I definitely think that number, maybe over the course of 10 years, yes, is 20 to 40%, but I would feel safe in saying that over the last year, 2 years, and maybe even 3 years, that number is over 40%, 50%, 60%. The average might even be 70% or higher. I don't know, but historically over the last 10 years, yes, 20 to 40%, but that is a huge amount of money. And if it's going up and up, that's really taking a lot of money out of drivers' pockets. Now, it's true the percent that they take is going to go down if you drive more, because in theory, you're going to be getting a lot of those better rides. But I do think that the amount that they're taking is probably too much for drivers, and it's making it difficult for them to make a livable wage. The second thing that was mentioned is that drivers' pay is down. Now, the CEOs continue to talk about how much money their drivers are making. And yeah, the drivers are making money. There's still a lot of orders that are coming in, but there are more drivers out than ever before. Just recently, I was sitting waiting for a delivery request in my area. I found a nice place that I thought would be able to park and stay in the shade. And as I was there, there was literally 10 other drivers waiting for the same thing. Now, I don't know if they were all doing all of the apps that I was doing, Doordash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, all of that, but there was 10 other drivers waiting. I've never seen that before. In fact, I typically would see one, maybe two other drivers in that area, and to see 10 at one time, and it wasn't even a busy time. There are more drivers than ever before. And the other thing is, even if drivers are making the same amount of money that they were a few years ago, the cost of living has significantly increased. So even if drivers were making the same amount of money that they were making 5 years ago, it's a huge decrease because of inflation. The cost of eggs, the cost of meat, the cost of rent has gone up so much that making the same amount of money is making less money. So instead of looking at it and saying, hey, we're making the same amount of money as we were a few years ago, that is really making less money than you were a few years ago. Now, that may be good for Uber and their bottom line because they're paying out the same amount of money, but maybe they're making more money because they're able to charge more. So it's good for them, but not good for the drivers. Finally is driver safety. Now, this is one that I hear about all the time from my friends and family. Every single time that there is a report of a Lyft or Uber driver or delivery driver that's hurt, injured, anything, I get sent that by all my family, and probably all the drivers out there do as well. Now, it's true, bad things happen at times, and being out more often, driving more people around, doing all of this, you're at a higher risk. But that being said, there are literally millions and millions of rides being given every single day. And the fact that there are a few really bad things doesn't make it unsafe to do it. That being the case, we as drivers need to protect ourselves. So do things like having a dash cam. Make sure people can see your location. Make sure you have all of the safety features on. There has to be something done to protect drivers. Now, Uber and Lyft, they continue to do things like allow you to share your location, where they use the different dash cams and things like that, and you can even register that dash cam. But there's things that are not being done that make drivers and passengers feel unsafe. Things like not picking up the person who requested the ride. So Jim requested the ride, but Susan is getting in, and you're not sure what's going on. It could be a different person. Also, people are using fake names. So there was one of the comments that we read, someone even said that they put in there their name was Killer. So of course the person declined the request to pick them up because the name made them a little uneasy. But people are putting whatever they want in there, not who they really are, and it's making drivers feel unsafe and declining these requests and passengers, and honestly, rightfully so. If I don't feel safe, if there's something that feels off, I decline that request. I don't care how much money it is. Safety is more important. So there you have the three big things that the RideShare Guy and Harry feels that drivers are going through, and I agree for the most part with a couple of exceptions. But what about you? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one of them. It really helps us out. We appreciate you so much. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out. It helps the channel to grow. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because there's more that come out every single week to help you make as much money as possible in as little time as possible. And again, if you wanting to find out when you should drive to make the most amount of money, definitely sign up for the Solo app. It's going to help you out a lot. And until next time, stay safe out there, everyone.